I wanted to speak with everybody briefly about our major class projects, and I thought it might be easier if I just made an audio recording to do so rather than send out individual emails. Just wanted to clarify a few things in case people had questions or so forth. For one, wanted to just refresh a little bit on some of the assignment. Basically, you're going to be choosing one of two options. You're either going with a marketing type analysis or a suitability analysis. In the marketing analysis, you're going to select 3 or 4 variables that would be indicators of what we would call a potential target audience that you're going to market your service or product to, mainly demographic variables. And if you want to throw in a physical variable, that's okay, but probably more applicable in suitability analysis anyway. But we're focusing mostly on demographic variables, and you'll like I say, you'll pick 3 or 4 of those, and then for the marketing approach, then you will select at least 3 different geographic areas to evaluate potential target customers against each other on the 3 or 4 variables that you picked out previously. I like to see students choose areas that are spread out a little bit, partially, or if not primarily, because it gives you exposure to different data sets, especially if it's outside of the state in different states. You can see some of the typical results you would get from that state. It encourages you to reach out a little bit, not to make things more difficult, but again to sort of make them more interesting, I guess, in the end, because you will definitely be picking 3 or 4 areas to market towards, so why not pick those in some different areas that are of interest to you. If you choose a suitability option, then you're going the route of saying, well, I want to select up to 3 different areas, or at least 3 different areas that are potentially suitable for locating the business that I'm interested in. And in this case, you will again select a potential business of interest, and then you will pick out 3 different areas. And I don't really care if you just sort of pull those out of a hat even. In other words, there doesn't have to be any real rhyme or reason to the 3 areas, other than, as with the marketing approach, I like to see people pick 3 sort of geographically distinct areas. And so oftentimes I'll encourage students to pick 3 different parts of the country. Though I understand if you have a project that's more regionally based and you want to pick 3 areas closer to that site, or to closer to home, so to speak. But try to pick areas that don't border on each other if you can, at least, especially with the suitability option. In a few cases, the marketing option mentioned previously, you might have to pick 3 areas that are fairly close, just depending on the type of business you're marketing. But with the suitability analysis, rarely do you have a need to pick 3 areas that are close to each other. And again, I just like to see people get sort of a diversity of data in different areas. And again, you're going to be using 3 areas regardless, so why not pick 3 areas that are of interest in different parts of the country, or at least in the regional to different regions of the U.S. Oftentimes these 3 areas are counties, and what you'll do is, again, like with the marketing, you'll pick 3 or 4 variables that this time are indicators of the relative suitability for your business, marketing idea, so forth. With both options, marketing and suitability, once you've picked your 3 or 4 variables, picked your three different areas, then you'll compare those areas with each other using a fairly gross level of data set, such as the tract census data or the county level census data. You'll compare each of the 3 areas on each of your 3 or 4 variables, and you'll produce a project with some layouts that compare those variables. Oftentimes what students will do is create 3 different projects, and in each project, for variable number 1, they will create 3 different data layers and show the 3 maps on the same layout so that you can real easily see your three different results for variable number 1. Then you'll do the same thing for variable number 2 in a different project, variable number 3 in a third project. From that information, it should be relatively obvious once you compare the 3 or 4 variables for those 3 different areas, which area is sort of most, quote, suitable, or which will become your actual target audience in the case of marketing instead of your potential target audience. So then your next step and last step is to take the one county or area that you've chosen and do a more detailed analysis using a more refined set of census data. For example, the block group or the block level data. You can analyze the same 3 or 4 variables that you did initially when you compared the 3 areas. And this time, though, your results might look a little different because you're going to have more detail available, and it will show different parts of the county that are perhaps more suitable or marketable for your business or service. So that's it in a nutshell. Also, keep in mind that certain variables, demographic variables, come from different data sets, of course, and one popular variable that seems to be used by a lot of students is the income data. And I usually recommend that people go with something like the median household income. This is in Summary File 3, which we'll be talking about soon in class on how to use. But I wanted to point out that with income data, oftentimes it's only available down to the block group and sometimes the tract level of detail. And that's okay in the case when you're doing your more refined analysis on your single area. It's okay with me if you use income and use it at the block group, or if it has to be the tract level for that variable. You can still do a block level detail on other variables if you choose. But I just wanted to mainly point out that the income data is not available down to the block level of detail. It's only available to either the block group or the tract level. If you have any questions about any of this, or any follow-up questions regarding your project, your topic selection, and so forth, be sure to send me an email. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. And good luck. Have fun.